You'd never fit it all in a book. You'd never fit it all into your book. Hello, Fáilte gach duine. You're very welcome. On this frosty night, the brave ones who made it out. I see regulars who are usually here, even on the Zoom here. So it truly is a cold, cold night. We are delighted to have Len Graham here. Anyone who was here last month, there were many songs that were collected by Len sung last month. So your reputation precedes you in the best way possible, Len, and we'll be checking in another while with you to hear some songs. Also lovely singers on Zoom that we will go over to in a few songs. But if you'll indulge me, will I do a quick one to start off? So, lovely stuff. So we've no December session. So this is the last session of the year. I know. And then we're back in a big way as part of Tradfest in January. So, but I'd like to just do a song that I wish to record. It has never been recorded. It was written by a woman from Galway called Barbara Cullen, and I got it from Niamh Parsons. This is the Solstice Carol. All in the dark of winter time, when shadows cross the moon, the dreaming seed of promise sleeps, all in the mother's womb. And on the road to Bethlehem, she'll joyfully allow the spirit of the universe move through her body now. Winter night, birth of light, with all the choirs of angels we celebrate this night. No midwife there to tend to her, no bed or board about, but husband's hand and her strong heart to help the baby out. She lays him in the manger there, her spirit flows out strong, his blessed perfection honoring, to litany and song. Winter night, birth of light, with all the choirs of angels we celebrate this night. They watch his newborn face of peace as heart and star combine, and want to share with all the world the magic of this time. No passport to the path of joy, in money, rank, or fame, for shepherd, king, and angel, the miracle's the same. Winter night, birth of light, with all the choirs of angels we celebrate this night. Oh, blessed Mother of us all, great Spirit of the earth, may every parent come to know the joys of peaceful birth. And like the kiss of earth and sun, at winter's turning curve, may every infant's birthright be a heritage of love. Winter night, birth of light, with all the choirs of angels, we celebrate this night. So fáilte gach duine. No. Come on in, come on in, come on inside. Well done for braving the elements. Lovely stuff. Mahu, Stefan, would you kick us off with a song? I'm just going to drop a microphone across the way from me here over to the brave Stefan. No. And make...
Yeah?
Yes.
Good man.
Mogragan keide hikant hu Eleanor Arun Isorta vimeg smwinu Trosamium she mohuan Mogragan tail who smoche chiar Stu station baneran Avringilin jasogs to his deshes samil chapok Conso waret sabio beganamort Maris jas marahiolin gaunalat Eleanor Narun Vi buekego malakshi Nahin le on the ground Svi buele kego dogakshi On a corpa fur on the moss Svibu elle kin nachen yerhachmei Shigra mochri smoche chiach Avringilin jasogs to his deshes samil shapok Conso waret sabio beganamort Maris jas marahiolin gaunalat Eleanor Narun On Jokatu non wanatu Eleanor Arun No on nahyon te nachanachu She mochid guntail is a stor O chokamei akni yanhamei Smadahyon ante nachaganachamei Bringing just soaks to his dishes a meal poke. Conta warded sabio began mort. Maar is just Mariolin gown a lot. Eleanor Naroon. Good morning.
Have I gotten that right finally?
Stefan O'Halon.
O'Halon.
Shouldn't have made the door too.
Harbar. So, for some more Irish, I'd love to pop over to Lindsay on Zoom. Now, Lindsay, I'm going to ask to unmute you. I saw you last month in Killiney, but will you please tell us where you're calling from now and what you will be singing, please?
I am in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, we don't have you in the room yet. Speak again there. Try again.
I'm in Boise, Idaho. Okay.
Idaho.
Yes, Idaho. So way, way across the world. And I am gonna sing Dani Hia Ud Imeho in honor of the season. So Dani Hia Ud Imeho By taggart fwy grain gobrach Dani Hia Ud Imeho God anig o'n fre hyrslian, tegri ysgrwa sper san talaf nach llwr a gwen. Fe'ch chi sagon sa'ch leifin, san wajan a gwalegre. Kan mont leve, gan loken a hir I sko, nur en askod gyan a spera, tet jachtur a jefwel, heier glor anish, dan a was Is fast af weser hallu, dar af javein shachwen. Dan ud mehil, by taggart fwy grain gabrach. Dan ud mehil, God anig o'n fre hyrslan, tegri ysgrwa sper san af nach llwr a gwen. Fe'ch chi sagon sa'ch leifin, san wajan a gwalegre. Thank you.
Now, gorgeous. Thank you so much. As we're going over to Rita Gallagher now online, we're going to ask you to unmute. While we're going over, thank you so much, Lindsay. We were just talking about all the Irish songs we'd love to learn, and if there's an Idaho singer tuning in and singing Oscuelga, you're putting us all to shame. Gurv Mila. Rita, how are you? Are you unmuted there? Sorry. How do I ask? Can you just give us a 1, 2 there, Rita? Now, how do I ask Rita to unmute? Okay. I'm going to have to find you here.
That's it now.
Oh, Ianto. Oh.
I don't know what happened there. Anyway, okay. Thank you for asking me, Fergus, and hello to Len and everybody else too, of course. I'm going to sing a Packy Manas song called Derry So Fair. She left the fair shores of her own native Ireland. She left them at noon on a grand summer day. She bid a goodbye to her friends and companions, and she sailed for America, so far, far away. 'Twas a little she thought as she stepped on board of that liner that bore her away from the foul sunny shore. 'Twas a little she thought as she stepped on that liner that her own beloved Derry she would never see more. She landed on a Sunday in a New York's biggest city, mid every hurry, bustle and care. She gazed in surprise at the New York skyscrapers, and she wished she was back in her Derry so fair. For 4 years she worked in a big mill in Boston. The hours were long and no sun did shine there. The roses soon left the fair cheeks of young Ethna, and she pined like a caged bird for her Derry so fair. One night as she slept in her cold attic chamber, she dreamt that her own darling mother was there, but it was the angel of death that had softly come o'er her and took away Ethna from the sad world of care. They dug her a grave out at Holy Cross Abbey, where many an exile a grave has found there. A wee sprig planted above her. Now she sleeps her last sleep, far from Derry so fair. Sinead.
Thank you so much. Lots of love for Rita in the room here. Ian took her fod. Before I go over to our special guest, we have to get a first-time singer here in the group. John Cunningham, would you be so good as to sing us a song? No bother to you. I'll drop a little microphone just for the Zoom attendees over to you.
Into here, is it?
Anywhere, yeah.
A handsome young sailor to London came down. He was paid off his ship in old Liverpool town. When they asked where he came from, he answered them right. I belong to a family called Nine Times a Night. Well, the town it soon filled with the news of his fame when they heard of this man with the wonderful name. And the ladies, when they are in their bed at night, they long for that man they call Nine Times a Night. A buxom young widow who still wore her weeds, her husband had left her his money and deeds. Resolved so she was on her conjugal rights, to soften her sorrows with 9 times a night. So she called on her servant girls and an Amelia to keep a lookout for this wonderful sailor, and if ever by chance he appeared in their sight, to bring her glad tidings of 9 times a night. She was favored by fortune the very next day. These giggling young girls saw him coming their way, and upstairs they rushed full of amorous delight, crying, "Here comes that man they called 9 times a night." Well, she jumped out of bed and she pulled on her clothes, and down to the hall door like lightning she goes. She viewed him all over and gave him a smack. The bargain was struck, no more sailing for Jack. Well, the wedding was over, the bride tolled the bell. Jack trimmed her sails 5 times and that pleased her well. Though she vowed in her heart she was satisfied quite, yet she still gave sly hints of his 9 times a night. Says Jack, "My dear bride, you mistook me quite wrong, for I said to that family that I did belong. 9 times a night is too much for one man. I can't do it myself, but my sister she can."
So I'd love for us all to warmly welcome and warm up the room, welcoming the brilliant Len Graham. And by the way, we'll take a wee break after Len sings us a few songs, and there's hot coffee and teas here if you want to warm up. You could even sneak over now if you're cold, if you want to, while it's all hot on this table here. But it is brilliant. It's brilliant to have you here for the first time in our wee singing session here in the Seamus Ennis Arts Centre. Let's have a warm round of applause.
My true love, she is beautiful, my true love, she is young. Her eyes are as blue as the violets true, and silvery sounds her tongue. Silvery sounds her tongue, me boys, as I sing this lay. But she's doing it grand in a distant land 10,000 miles away. Blow ye winds, hi-ho, a roving we will go. I'll stay no more in Erin shore and let your music play. I'm off in the morning train across the raging main, for I'm in the mood of my true love 10,000 miles away. It was a dark and a dismal night when first I met my pet. She had a government band around her hand and another one round her neck. Another one round her leg, me boys, as I sing this lay. But she's doing it grand in a distant land 10,000 miles away. Blow your winds high-ho, a roving we will go, and I'll stay no more in air and shore and let your music play. I'm off in the morning train across the raging main, for I'm in the mood of my true love 10,000 miles away. If I were a sailor lad, me boys, or even a bombardier, I would hire a boat and the ocean float, to my true love I would steer. To my true love I would steer, me boys, where the dancing dolphin play, and the whales and the sharks kick up their larks 10,000 miles away. Blow your winds high-ho, a roving we will go, and I'll stay no more in air and shore and let your music play. I'm off in the morning train across the raging main, for I'm in the mood of my true love 10,000 miles away. May the sun shine bright through the Belfast fog, may the tide run smooth and clear, may the ocean brine turn into wine if ever I see my dear. If ever I see my dear, my boys, dressed up like a lady, they say, goodbye, says she, remember me 10,000 miles away. Blow your winds high-ho, a roving we will go, and I'll stay no more in air and shore and let your music play. I'm off in the morning train across the raging main, for I'm in the mood of my true love 10,000 miles away. That's what you call a larynx warmer on a cold, frosty night as it is. Great to be here, and hello everybody out there. That's a music hall song composed by a great music hall performer and songwriter back in the 19th century, middle of the 19th century probably, right through. A man called Joseph Gaugharan, and wrote quite a number of, that's one of his most famous ones that's travelled across the Atlantic and turns up in all sorts of places. But that particular version came from a great man called Robert Cinnamon. He was one of the last of the, what we call creel makers. You say, what the hell's a creel maker when you're writing home? Well, he lived in the townland of Alcadalgan near Glenavy on the eastern shores of Lough Neagh. And that whole area from about north of Lurgan right up to nearly Antrim town was one huge, what you call a cottage industry of creel makers. And nearly all these people had out in the back garden, they had what was known as a sally garden, where the common salliach, the white willow, were grown and harvested for making creels. And of course, before the advent of plastic, there was all sorts of things made from willow. And his particular speciality was ones to go around. Big carboys I remember the carboys, the big carboys with distilled water that they used to have for topping up your battery, and then smaller ones for sulfuric acid, things like that, were all sent out in glass carboys, big ones and smaller ones, but they all had to be protected with baskets around them. So his specialty was these ones for doing the carboys. And that's just I better not do much talking or I'll get no singing done at all. I'll get no singing at all. I thought I would do an anti-war song because we came into this new millennium 25 years ago with great optimism, and by goodness, we're making all the same mistakes as they were back in the 20th century. We thought we'd got over all that, but we're back into it again, and every day seems to be more bad news. But this song, I was lucky that I was introduced to a great song collector called Sam Henry. And Sam Henry was publishing a song every week in the Northern Constitution in Coleraine from 1923 to 1939. Now, I wasn't around for the Songs of the People, but I was lucky that an uncle cut a lot of them out of the newspaper and presented them to me in my teens, early teens actually. But then I heard that Sam Henry very kindly had lodged 2 big scrapbooks up in the Central Library in Belfast, another 2 down in the National Library in Dublin, and another 2 he sent over to the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. So eventually the whole collection was published by the University of Georgia Press in Athens, in Georgia, in 1990. But prior to that, I had to consult my newspaper cuttings and the 2 scrapbooks in Belfast. But this particular song was collected by Sam Henry in the 1930s from a street singer at a market in Strenocum in North Antrim near Ballymoney, and published in the collection. But I was lucky enough that I met a singer, a fiddler actually. I met him through the Antrim and Derry Fiddlers Association in 1963. He came over to me and asked me. I was called up to sing a song, and I sang one of my grandmother's songs, and he came up and asked me for the words of it, and he introduced himself as Joe Holmes, and I landed round with the words of the song, and he started to sing for me because he did all his singing at home, and his mother had died. I'd just missed his mother. She had died in the late 1950s. I'd missed her, but by all accounts she was a great singer. And one of the singers, it was a Keeley house, and one of the singers that used to call in was a man called John McAfee, and that's who Sam Henry collected the song from. He lived in the village of Aramoy, and he travelled from Aramoy, and you would sometimes go to Ballycastle for a fair day, and you go out to all these different fairs and sing and play the fiddle for pence on the street. But if he was heading to Ballymoney, Joe's home at Killyrammer, the townland of Killyrammer, was sort of halfway between the village of Aramoy and the town of Ballymoney. He used to call in at the Holmeses. Sometimes he'd stay over and then travel on into Ballymoney for the fair day the next day, halfway mark. And he gave the Joe echoes of it, and it was published in 1862, the early years of the American Civil War. So hopefully I'll remember. I've never sung this in public before. The last verse, I've sung the song as Joe gave it to me, but I never sang this last verse in public before. So this is the debut for the last verse. And if I remember, God, I haven't said that. If I forget it, I'll be in trouble. My parents reared me tenderly, I been their only son. Little did they think I would follow the fife and drum. They brought me up in the fear of God, kept me from toil and woe, which makes me sigh, I and oft times cry, I wish the war was o'er. To finish my education, they sent me to school a while, I and by their hard industering kept me in proper style. But with some liquor in my hand, I sailed for Glasgow Green. I enlisted with John Barber, all for to serve the Queen. After 7 long years had passed and gone, I thought on my liberty. After 7 long years had passed and gone, I thought I would be free. But the answer the Colonel gave to me, it oft times makes me sigh, that I was bound to serve the Queen till all the wars were by. Oh, once I thought I ne'er would be in this dejected state, a poor forlorn soldier exposed to hardships great. The burn and flaunters on each branch with terror strikes my heart. Each star I see alarms me, from war I must depart. A wish was sent on every breeze, on every passing hour, just as the swinging pendulum tinks, we wish the war was o'er. The tears, the sighs, the flowing blood, the crimson fields of gore, sends out a cry from troubled hearts. We wish the war was o'er. And so say all of us. And when will they ever learn, eh? Oh yeah, the baby. Right, thanks. Lovely. All the best. My father used to say that I was like a terrier dog. If I got the whiff or the scent of a singer or a song, I'd be out after it. And this next song, I was given this address of a singer and a musician. And I decided to go and find him. But his address fascinated me nearly as much as his name. Well, his name was quite ordinary, Jimmy Spallin. But his address was either 5 or 6. There was 12 houses in a row, and they were called the 12 Apostles. And they were all attached. It was a terrace of houses, small little cottages. They're still there. But the man that I'm talking about is long since gone. This is way back in the 60s, when I was a little bit of a lad. And that wasn't yesterday. And I called up anyway with number 5, I think it was. It was either 5 or 6. It was halfway along the terrace anyway. And he played the tin whistle. He told me he bought the tin whistle at the Rabble. I said, what the hell's the Rabble? Oh, that was the name of the Heron Fair in Coleraine. It was held in May and November every year. And I bought it off a traveller called Sammy Doherty, one of the Donegal Dohertys. And used to make, they were tinsmiths as well. That's why they were called tinkers, because they were actually tinsmiths. And he actually made tin whistles. So this was a tin whistle that Sammy Doherty had made him way back in the early part of the 20th century. And that's what he played. He played a lot of tunes, and he played a lot of slow airs of songs as well, some lovely airs too. But he played this particular song, but he says, I don't have I've only bits and pieces of it, but if you're looking for singers, he says, what you'll have to do, he says, you'll have to go from here, he says, and you'll go downhill. He said, it is downhill because you're going down to downhill, and you'll pass the Downhill Hotel. There's a few houses and cottages. But you keep on driving, you'll come to a railway crossing, and that's the Umbra. And the man that looks after that, the man and his wife look after that crossing, he says that's where the main Derry to Belfast train goes up and down, and he's in charge of the level crossings. And his name is Robert Butcher. And if he's not at home, if you drive down to another mile, he says you come to Achill Cross, and into the right there's some labourers' cottages down there. I think it's the middle one, he says. you'll find a man called Eddie Butcher. That's the next youngest man. Robert's the eldest. And then there's Eddie. And then if he's not at home, if you drive down another couple of miles down, you'll come to the townland of Drumma Valley, and you'll pass Greta Deacon's pub, and you'll pass Ballerina railway station. You'll come to some cottages, and they're thatched with marron grass. They're called the Bent. And there's 3 cottages there. The middle cottage there is John Butcher, and that's the youngest brother. And that's the 3 of them, and surely you'll get one of them at home, he says. They're all singers, he says. They're all singers. And if you see any of them, tell them I was asking for them. I will indeed, Jimmy. So I called down, just missed by a year, Robert. He had passed away. But lucky enough, when I got down to Achilcross, Eddie Butcher was still very much alive. And he started to sing for me. And that was the beginning of another great friendship. And this song was composed, and Eddie was a great champion of a songwriter who was born about 1850, died in 1910, and he died in the Limavady workhouse. That's what happens to people that try to make a livelihood out of music. He was another busker. He was a blind fiddler and singer and songwriter, and some of his songs, I see Paul Brady's portrait over there, and Paul recorded the Corin Regatta, that's one of blind Jimmy McCurry's songs. And the Voice Squad, they recorded Sarah Jane, that's another of his songs. And Frank Hart recorded a few of his songs as well. Don't think any. This is about another regatta, and it was between 2 villages, in the village of Moreau on the Derry side, and then Closs Lochfoyle in Moville. And each year they used to have the fishermen used to have a regatta with the clinker-built boats way back in the 19th century. And he wrote this song, and he called it The Star of Moville, after a lassie that he met. The Star of Moville. You folk of this nation, and hear my oration. Come a listen with patience, and I won't keep you long. There is no false pretension in what I hear mention. It is now my intention for to sing you a song. I belong to a village where boatmen have knowledge of rowing and sailing, experience and skill. Aye, and then as in thunder my heart leapt like wonder when I first met Mary, the Star of Moville. My notion was bent, so to Blackburn I went, for to gain his consent for to sail o'er Lochfoyle. My friends and my neighbours had ceased from their labours to obtain the day's pleasure, forsaking their toil. My petition he granted, I got what I wanted. He freely consented, and he said nothing ill. He says, get you ready, aye, and keep yourself steady. Beware of your conduct this day at Moville. I profess not to show it, for indeed I don't know it. For to tell you in plain how the race it was run. Suffice it to say, about 12 in the day, the boats went away like the shant of a gun. Some cheering for Blackburn, aye, and others for Allen. Some for McCormick with cheers loud, aye, and shrill. Aye, and then as in thunder, sure my heart leapt like wonder when I first met Mary, the Star of Moville. Now my senses were frisky by the means of some whiskey. Says I, my wee lassie, how sweetly you sing. Some swaggering and roistering, while others kept cursing. Sly Cupid kept whispering, slip round her your wing. Says I, ma'am, excuse me, but do not refuse me. A wee drop of whiskey or sorrow will kill. She freely consented, aye, and I was contented. that I had gained Mary, the star of Moville. So now to conclude I and finish these verses, and I hope no offence I have given to none. But I wish I could fly, or the ground would rise high, or the waters might dry, I might reach in a shone. I'll promise you here, if you're over next year, at Eliza's or Jacob's, your glasses I will fill. And like a canary I will sing loud and cheery, and sound out the praises of the Star of Moville.
Hey!
Now, back
Will you do
in...
one more first, and then we'll do a wee.
Okay,
wee-
sure.
If you'd be so kind, thank you so much.
Yep. Okay.
I know you've hundreds.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe I'm talking too much and not doing enough singing.
That's great.
I'd like to give a wee bit of background of the people that all these songs are. I see all these people in front of me,
Yeah.
and that's the way. These when you singing as long as I am, that's all you've got is memories. But what I'll do? Okay, I started going to Fla's way back in the early '60s. Actually, I was told by a man from Ballycastle, a great friend, Frank McCollum, told me all about these wonderful gatherings. And I got a pair of ex-army boots and hiked my way down to Mullingar, 1963. And then it wasn't a great Fla, it was very messy, that particular Fla. A lot of broken glass about. I didn't enjoy it that much, but the next year was a great one. There was 2 Flas in Clones, County Monaghan. And you must realise that the Flas weren't as big as what they are now, like a small town like Clones, holding 2 All-Irelands, 64 and 68. But I remember being in the back room of the Leonard Arms, and actually it was... Rita mentioned Pecky Manus Byrne. That's the first time I met Pecky Manus Byrne was in Clones, 1964. We became great friends. We kept on meeting each other. Pecky became very much involved in the folk scene over in England and Scotland and Wales, and toured all over there for years and years till he finally retired and came back home again to Donegal. But we kept on meeting right up till just before he died. He died in, well, he was 90, just after his 98th birthday he died. Great long life, but a great character. And I met him for the first time in the back room in the Leonard Arms. And who else was there? A man called Peter Flanagan, another great wee singer. Eddie Sweeney, another great singer. Oh God, it was just a room full of great singers. And I can just see them all and hear the voices of them singing. And the first time I heard this emigration song was in that back room of the Leonard Arms in Clones in 1964. But then I was to hear it again from different people. I heard Charlie McGonigal up in Donegal, Inishowen had a version of it. John Cabell, my old friend, had an Armagh version he got from his Uncle Johnny. And who else? The great Geordie Hanna, Tyrone singer, great singer, another great old friend. So it's one of those, there's a wonderful line in it. I nearly sing a song for this one defiant line in it, but I'll not say too much. I'll let the song speak for itself. Emigration. Castle Garden. Castle Garden served the immigrants coming in down in Manhattan Island, down the tip of Manhattan Island, from exactly 1855 until the opening of Ellis Island in 1893. So that's where they use it. It mentions Castle Garden, so it's before Ellis Island opened anyway. You're talking too much, Graham. Farewell, my kind relations and my friends, both one and all. My lot is in America, though I may rise or fall. From my cabin I'm evinced, likewise compelled to go, and leave the land where I was reared, where the green shamrock grow. Hurrah, me boys, and the sails are spread, and the tide is running fast. Down the loch we sailed away from the town of Belfast, to seek for bread and labour as we're content to go, and leave the land where we were reared, where the green shamrock grows. I owed the landlord 2 years' rent. I wish I owed him more. One day the Cardley bailiff pinned a notice on our door. I bid farewell to the ones I love. It grieves me 10 times more to leave the house my father built some 30 years or more. Farewell unto my comrades with whom I used to sport, and those happy hours together with them I did resort. There's one I leave behind me, and it grieves me 10 times more to leave her in old Ireland, where the green shamrocks grow. Hurrah, me boys, and the sails are spread, and the wind is blowing fair. We're bound for Castle Garden, in a few days we'll be there, to seek for bread and labour as we're compelled to go, and leave the land where we were reared, where the green shamrock grows. We went into an ale house where we drank strong whiskey and beer. We drank a health to all at home, to those we love so dear. We sat and sang till the rafters rang, although our hearts were sore. And we hoped one day that we'd return to the green shamrock shore.
Lovely stuff. Rockabidge Arash, Trish, Death No Maid. We'll come back in about 10 minutes. Again, there's some warm tea and coffees here. Please help yourself. Maybe Grodo Cahalan will accompany our little tea break with a tune if we're lucky.
Great.
And let's give one more round of applause for Len Graham, everybody. Gorgeous stuff. Now I'll find a few victims. Who's going to sing? Right, folks. So we do have a couple of people who are lined up on Zoom, but I wonder, could we get a song from the room first? So John, I hope you're ready on Zoom, and Seamus, as always, are ready to sing on Zoom. But we haven't had a female singer in the room yet, which is shocking. So we're going to be treated by. Is it Pauline or Maeve? Are you going to do a duet, or are you going to sing? Sorry, Pauline is having a cup of tea, so we'll leave you. We'll give you a break. I'll grab a wee microphone so the Zoom participants can enjoy Maeve Mulligan's.
Sing a South Armagh song. On Slieve Gullion's gentle slopes I gazed, the heather brown, the granite glazed, the storm clouds raging on her face, just as in life's long span. The history that's unknown to me, of men enslaved and of men freed, it never was a mystery to this mountain of the Gael. From the cairn on this fine mountain, on a clear and sunny day, you can see as far as Wicklow, or behind you to Lough Neagh. From Scotland's far off distant shore to proud Slieve Bloom near Tullamore. Round South Armagh where ancient glory is based all round Slieve Gullion. Cross alongside Cuchulainn stride, took into victory. And the Gallow Glass through her woods did pass, to set the brown bull free. Satanta's joy, when as a boy he hurled beneath her slopes, and the lake on top that will never drop beneath young Finn's hopes. It was on her slopes a poet wrote of Johnson and the fuse, and his story rang with the wild harangue when O'Dourneen heard the news that the poet bard James Murphy was to be hung on high. With Johnson's hate and the jilted maid, on the scaffold he must die. On Calavy's side there is no pride of the landlords who live there. In the penal days there is no praise, no tenants would they spare. And further down the Clanrise banks, tall masted ships they lay, to transport their human cargo to the shores of Botany Bay. O'er Dunreevy wood this mountain stood, a wood that is no more. It had crossed then through Crossmaglen to Rostrever's Moran shore. But to keep the Englishman a war afloat upon the sea, they cut down all our tall oaks, that their own oaks might grow free. And not alone our tall oaks, they cut down our young men, who in '98 hid on her slopes that they might rise again. But now today we are steadfast, and we're not inclined to roam, as we live within the shadows of our lovely mountain home.
What was the name of the song again? Sorry.
Sleep Gully Inside.
Oh, lovely.
Brian Murphy.
Gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
Think you get one of that? Pauline Quinn.
Brian Andy Murphy. I should have said.
Thank you, Pauline.
A joy came to my bosom as I left Coven Cork. I boarded a White Star liner and I landed in New York. The houses were of jasper and the streets were lined with gold, and the ladies in their splendor most charming to behold. For I'm thinking, ever thinking, by night as well as day. I'm thinking, ever thinking, on those green hills far away. I'm thinking on those mossy banks and the valleys down below. Sure my heart is in lovely Erin, where the green leaf shamrock grows. Once I was disappointed when first I crossed the foam. There were 3 days' work cut out for me, for an inst every one at home. To be working for informers, sure I'd rather soon be hung than to listen to the jibing of a cruel foreign tongue. For I'm thinking, ever thinking, by night as well as day. I'm thinking, ever thinking, on those green hills far away. I'm thinking on those mossy banks and the valleys down below. Sure my heart is in lovely Erin, where the 3-leaf shamrock grows. I can see the little chapel beneath the mountain pass, where I made my confirmation and oft times knelt at mass, with the saggart on the altar and people bowing low. My heart is in lovely Erin, where the 3-leaf shamrock grows. For I'm thinking, ever thinking, by night as well as day. I'm thinking, ever thinking, on those green hills far away. I'm thinking on those mossy banks and the valleys down below. My heart is in lovely Erin, where the 3-leaf shamrock grows.
Pauline and Maeve, gorgeous stuff. I'd love to pop over very quickly. John, can I ask you to unmute yourself there, and we'll get a song or two from Zoom. So if you can.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. This is a song called, can you hear me?
Is that the name of it? Yeah. We can indeed.
This is a song called Slán Lamoy. It was written by Andreas McCrath as a poem. It's a song of exile and was written by him when he left his home in County Limerick in the 18th century. The title refers to a local river called the Meg in English. Slán is céad on déobh seo hún, cais mai na gair na gréamh na grúach, na stad na siad, na saor na slú, na non na récht, na drin gan ruim. Slán ga éig, da hir súrk, da daimh, da tléir, da éigs da súa. Dam chairle tléamh, gan tléan, gan thlún, gan chaim, gan cháin, gan chréas, gan cruas. Ach o chón is broite mishe, gan chwil, gan chóir, gan choib, gan chwiste. Gan salt, gan siod, gan sport, gan spianna, o siol a me, gan hu ignish. Is fánach faoin me, is fréach far fúr, is tomlang tre, is teamach trua. I mar an tléve, gan éan man dúr, im foilt ach fréach, is gay adwi. Ach o chón is broite mishe, gan chwil, gan chóir, gan choip, gan chwiste. Gan salt, gan siod, gan sport, gan spianna, o siol a me, can hu ignish. Sinead.
I didn't turn it down. Gurav Mila. Len, I'm just conscious I want to make sure we get a few lovely songs from you. So can we have a big round of applause for all our singers and all our Zoom singers as well? And thank you, John. That was your first time, as far as I'm aware, joining us for the session. So Gurav Mila Mahagut. But can we return to our special guest, Len Graham? Would you sing us a few songs? 9 o'clock.
9
sure.
o'clock.
We won't go. We won't be mad at you because many of us have travelled far to hear you sing. So we're just delighted to have you. And in fact, let's have one more round of applause for Len Graham.
I left my father and I left my mother and I left my brothers and my sisters too. And I left my friends and my kind relations, and I left them all for to go with you. As she never once said she was going to leave me, until one evening when she came in, In all my life, sure I never did see as fine a wee lassie upon my soul. For she's got sweethearts 20, 18 and 16 and 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and none, 19, 17 and 15 and 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3 and 1. And it all goes around by the wheel of fortune. As it goes around, it puzzles me. Fair maids, they are so deceiving, sad experience it teaches me. Madam, I've got gold and silver. Madam, I've got house and land. Madam, I've got worldly treasures, all will be at your command. What care I for your gold and your silver? What care I for your house and your land? What care I for your worldly treasures? All that I want is a nice young man. For she's got sweethearts 20, 18 and 16 and 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and none, 19, 17 and 15 and 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3 and 1. And it all goes around by the wheel of fortune. As it goes around, it puzzles me. Fair maids, they are so deceiving, sad experience it teaches me. Why do you crave so much for beauty? It is a flower that'll soon decay. It's like the rose that blooms in summer, when winter comes it'll go away. And the very first time that I met my darling, come off fair maids, I pray, take a warning. Never heed what a young man says. They're like the stars in the misty evening. You think they're near, but they're far away. For they've got sweethearts 20, 18 and 16 and 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and none, 19, 17 and 15 and 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3 and 1. And it all goes around with the wheel of fortune. As it goes around, it puzzles me. Fair maids, they are so deceiving, sad experience it teaches me. Well, there was a song that came from two eel fishermen from Loch Ness, up near Arbo, Albert and Teddy Hagan. They'll be turning in their grave if they could see what's going on in Loch Ness at the moment with all this pollution and stuff.
Yeah.
Desperate, terrible.
Is it connected to the Spanish lady? Or?
There will be there's a connection. There's connections there. Yeah.
Yeah. With the dyslexic way of counting there, it makes perfect sense to me.
There's connections there, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's counting in some of them, but the Wheel of Fortune, that's that particular version.
Lovely.
Anyway, we'll see what I'll do now. I was up visiting an uncle, my mother's eldest brother, way back in must have been the early 70s. He was in the Braid Valley Hospital in Ballymena. Lived in Glenarm, but that was the closest hospital. He'd had a wee bit of a flutter. He lived another good few years after that, but I was up seeing him. I forget where it is. I think I was living up about Ballymoney at the time, or maybe he was in Shargan. Can't remember. But anyway, I went up to see him, and he was in good form. He was recovering well. At that time, you could get away with things that you wouldn't get away with nowadays. He had a wee bedside locker, and he said, "Would you like a wee drink?" I said, what do you mean I want a drink? And he opened the locker, and everybody that came to see him would leave a wee baby powers, and he had all these wee bottles that people were bringing. He had a whole collection of wee miniatures and the odd naggin whiskey and stuff. And he called over, there was a man with a green uniform over, "Dan, come here, this is the nephew I was telling you about. This is Leonard here, my nephew. He does a bit of singing. Would you sing that song that you sang last night?" They must have had a bit of a party the night before in the ward. He says, "Oh, what song was that? The one with the Florrie, the one with all the Florrie language in it." "Oh, aye. Oh, right." So I had no tape recorder or nothing with me, and he sang this song. Well, the whole way home, I went over and over. I don't think I slept a wink that night. I kept going over and over the melody. I couldn't memorize all the words. I give him my address to him, and he said he'd post the words to me. So I kept on going over and over the song, and lo and behold, in a week or 10 days later, the song words landed, and I matched them to what I'd remembered. But I was worried because I didn't want to, sing it wrong. The melody was quite a nice melody. And I finally tracked him down, but it must have been nearly 20. He'd retired in the meantime, and they got him a wee pensioner's house up at, not Balaki, but Swatter, up in Swatter, and I called him. Dan Crilly called him, and I recorded him. I was delighted that I'd made a fairly good remembrance of the melody, because when you're tricking, your ears sometimes doesn't pick up as much as you want it to pick up. Let me see if I can remember it. I haven't sung this for a while. Just came to me the other day. Descend, you chaste muses, you bards and you sages, with Orpheus who tamed roaring beasts with his lyre. You ancient historians and stead many ages, I hope you'll awake and my genius inspire. You great guns of learning, give your approbation. You guns and philosophers, lend me your aid in praise of a female who's a leaving our nation. She's the bright star of Erin and the flower of Gortin. Oh, was I as Homer, the prince of the writers, who sang of Athenians, aye, and Spartans of old? Could I paint with the skill of a Roman inditer, the praise of this fair one can never be told. Penelope, Venus, Diana, and Flora, whose beauty and chastity never can fade. For Helen, Lucretia, and the famous Aurora, even these could not equal the flower of Gortin. On arrival, she stands like a goddess of Erin. For style and for beauty, none can her excel. On the 3rd of September, her vessel she's steering, far, far from the place she did formerly dwell. The consorts of Hector, who's mentioned in story, Susanna, whose virtues are still on the decay, Queen Dido, who reigned like a sovereign in glory, even these could not equal the flower of Gortin. Adieu to old Erin, the land of my childhood, where luxury, pomp, and magnificence row. No more I'll traverse o'er the plains or the wide woods, nor list to the mavis that sings in the grove. And if to Columbia God sends me safe over, I would write a few lines to my dear comrade Maine, who along with my sweetheart, I and my dear old mother, await my return once again to Gortin. I suppose I'll finish off with one.
Oh, please.
And
Or two, if you
two. All right. You're looking for punishment. Well, I was saying to Stefan there earlier that if I get a chance to come back to this wonderful world that we live in, I'd love to have Irish. I've so many songs that I want to learn, but unfortunately, I neglected that, having to travel so much. I didn't get a chance to specialised. Of course, nothing else rattling in my bloody head, only bloody songs. I don't know where to fit them in anyway. I wanted to be a fiddler as well, so there's so many things I wanted to do, but maybe if I do get back again, I'll get a chance to do some of these things. But who knows? Here's a wee song with a wee bit of Irish in it anyway, a wee bit of Irish, macaronic, I suppose. Come, landlady, would you rise up now and let your eyebrows not be frowning? Come, fill to us a flowing glass, and you'll get paid when it is morning. Oh, kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the wajin, kneel the la, nan the la, banar argos iwa argo. Here are jugs and here are mugs, and here is where the ill is stronger. If there's no money in your pocket, be off with you, you can stay no longer. Kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the wajin, kneel the la, nan the la, banar argos imarwago. Come, landlady, join us in the snug, all of the housey thoughts of slumber scorning. There's not a drop and jar or jug that we won't drain before the morning. Kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the wajin, kneel the la, nan the la, banar argos imarwago. I put my hand into my pocket and I drew out my last half crown, and I banged it down upon the counter, saying, bring to me a pint of porter. Kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the wajin, kneel the la, nan the la, banar argos imarwago. I am a silly, foolish man who lets the rent pour down my thrapple, and I brought great hardship on myself whilst bringing joy to other people. Kneel the la, nan the la, kneel the la, nan the wajin, kneel the la, nan the la, banar argos imarwago.
Hey! Oh, far.
Never stopped us, did it?
Oh, Jesus, I'm telling you, 3 cheers for the pioneers. We'll see now.
Before your last one, I better just say we've no December session, so this is it now. So please do spread the word. We have Innie Kay, the award-winning singer. What's Innie Kay's Ethna Nikahan is going to, and she just released an album as well, so which is fantastic. So she will be joining us for our Trad Fest special, which is on the 20th. Let me triple check that. The 20th of January. Oh, I'm glad I checked. The 22nd of January, we have Innie Kay, Ethna Nikahan, joining us here. So please do spread the word. This is we want to keep this going and keep it building because it's an absolute joy, and it definitely feeds me every month. So with evenings like this. So thank you so much for being here, Len.
Oh, delighted, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, an old neighbour of ours used to sing this, and it was sort of a cue that have you no home to go to? The cock was probably crowing outside. Have you no home to go to? But she was too polite to say that, so once she struck this song up, we knew it was time to go home.
Oh, yeah. Out on the vein.
Mary McGill, great old neighbour. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Times are hard, we have no fortune, but good health we have for sure. This to us is more important than any wealth or worldly store. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Though how humble is our dwelling, hardships we have shared a few. Happy the day of our meeting, you to me and me to you. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. See the miser with his riches, watching o'er with cautious eye. But we'll have fun and social pleasure, and spend our time in harmony. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall. Friendship makes the heart grow fonder, friendship makes us all unite. Friendship brings us all together, 'twas friendship brought us here tonight. Happy are we all together, happy are we one and all. May we lead a life of pleasure, may we rise and never fall.
Thank you so much. So, that was a pleasure. Thank you all so much for coming, and all who sang and all who listened, and my son who I can hear screaming outside, but that's encouraging sounds, I'm sure, Len. Everyone here, to Seamus Ennis, Shane Power, Niall on cameras, everyone who joined in on Zoom. We will see you on the 22nd of January. Thank you all so much for joining in. Please spread the word for the 22nd for our big Tradfest session here. And one more time for Len Graham.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.